Welcome to Nic On Knicks, where your boy N.I.C rants about the latest Knicks news. And the news is that it's a new day. It is a new day in Knick fandom. We have a season where we come into it as one of the prohibitive favorites in the entire NBA. We have a season when we come in on the heels of an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. And the New York Knicks came out in game one and they took care of business against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They win 119 to 111. They come out and from the very beginning, they are the aggressor. They are the more forceful team. They are the team that is moving the ball, moving themselves. They are the team that is challenging every shot, just crashing the offensive boards. And the Knicks at home open the season with a lot of expectations. And I would have to say it's only one game, but they lived up to those expectations. The Knicks looked exactly like you want a team that has finals aspirations, that's coming out hungry, that wants to get to that next step and even pass to that next step. The Knicks looked exactly like that team last night. It was a beautiful thing to watch. They were in control of that game. It was tied going into the fourth quarter. Of course, the Cavs are going to make some runs. Donovan Mitchell is one of the most dynamic scorers in the league for quite some time. And in the third quarter, he went crazy. There wasn't much anybody could do. He had that look in his eye, that bounce in his step, and he was bringing it to the Knicks, and they were having a tough time. They were having a tough time getting him to cool off at all. There was one point where he pulled up, and he had OG and Bridges basically double teaming him as he tried to get a high pick and roll. And I'm talking high, 4 or 5 feet behind the 3-point line at the top of the key. And they both stay with him. And as opposed to have to deal with those two, he just takes a slight step back and pulls up. And it was like he just dropped that ball in the basket from about 32 feet. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell did his thing, but it wasn't enough. Why was it not enough? Because we came in waves. 11 players played in the first 13 minutes. And even though we were missing Josh Hart and we're missing the Block Ness Monster, shout to CP the franchise, we're missing Mitchell Robinson. It doesn't matter. Huck Porty subs in from him, looks more than serviceable. Huck Porty, no one's going to be the defender or the offensive rebounder that Mitchell Robinson is, but I will tell you, Huck Porty, I think, might be a little bit better at just overall handling the ball. I'm not talking about dribbling. I'm talking about catching the ball and, making the requisite pass. And I really felt like we saw a new era of Knicks basketball. And the elephant in the room, the thing that we have to talk about, and there's almost a part of me that feels bad doing this because I don't want to keep piling on the guy. But I was honest about how I felt about him at the beginning of his tenure, where I thought he was an absolute savior for the Knicks. He restored respectability. He restored a certain standard, at least minimum standard, that the Knicks hadn't had in quite some time. But I was vocal about also how I felt at him towards the end of his tenure. And not just, at the end of last year, but these last couple years, as far as not playing modern basketball, as far as guys not being put in the best position to win, and specifically not playing anybody outside of his circle of trust, or even giving anybody the opportunity to get into that circle of trust unless it's absolutely necessary. And I'm sorry, but, we got to keep it a buck, right? Keep it at 100. Yo, man. What we saw yesterday was a Mike Brown coach team as compared to a Tom Thibodeau coach team. It's just that simple. Tibbs did a lot for us, But I mean, it just jumped off the screen, the differences in this team. Jalen Brunson not being forced to bring the ball up and turn his back, and switch 3-4 different times just to get the ball across half court. And the very first possession, the ball ends up with Jalen Brunson catching the ball in the corner all alone and knocking down a three. And from there, you just saw a Knicks offense that was predicated on not just playing fast, which obviously everybody, specifically Mike Brown, they talk about it a lot. It wasn't just about playing fast. It was also about concepts where guys are cutting, and when Deuce cuts and Bridges sees Deuce cutting and he holds the ball for a beat, watches the defender go with Deuce on the cut, and he kicks it over to Shamet for the wide open three, and he knocks it down. Yo, that's a concept that it might not be necessarily a play, but it's something that you can tell that everybody on the floor knew what everybody else was doing. They weren't just basically reacting to Brunson and hoping that he can, create a mismatch and then kick it around and we move the ball. No, this is a concept that has been instilled by this coaching staff. And Landry Shamet knocks down the corner three. He just hit 3 free throws right before that. So as soon as he caught that ball, I was like, that's good. Shamet played well. Yeah, man, rapid fire today. There's a lot of people out here that give you a lot of stats. They talk all this different stuff about the Knicks, and I know because I consume most of it. And I just like to give you just a quick, not even really a recap, not a post game, just how I feel, man. If you're like me, I know that after Knick games, especially after Big Knick wins, and especially when a team is playing well, overall, I'm scouring YouTube for just any Knicks coverage, just finding people that I like. Some of the people that are now really big influencers, or I should say content creators, I found them when they were real small, and I've been rocking with them. And so, my wife says all I ever do is talk about sports. So I do the one podcast with me and my pops. We talk Knicks, Mets, and Jets and sports in general. And I also do this one. And I just feel like if you're a Knick fan, we're a rabid fan base. And I like to talk about them. And if y'all can rock with me, then I appreciate that as well. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are on a ton of platforms. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitch. We are on X. We are on Instagram. I don't even really know what Twitch is, but we figuring it out. We tried it out. Again, as always, appreciate the love. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. And always, I love to interact in the comments. I promise you, if you comment, whether it be during the live broadcast or if it is afterwards on the replay side, if you comment, I will reply. I promise you I will reply. I do not promise I will be nice. Yo, man, this Knicks team, after that first game in Abu Dhabi, if you don't know, I'm a very optimistic dude. I am quick to jump out of a window. I stay standing on the ledge. And I just seeing the way that they were playing, the way that Mikal Bridges looked, the way that we were trying to, feature Brunson off ball. I said Knicks are winning the championship. After watching that game last night against the Cavs, the Knicks are definitely winning the motherfucking championship. All right? Tibbs, we got love for you. We appreciate everything you did for us, but Tibbs is out of here. Tyler Kolek looks like a guy who could really make an impact on an NBA team. OG Anunoby looks like one of the best all-around two-way players in the entire game. Karl Anthony Towns and Brunson, guess what? They're off. It doesn't matter when you have a full team. We played 11 guys. 11 guys, and we got contributions all over the place. I mean, Jamison is out here having great defensive possessions. Yo, man. The Deuce. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, this Knicks team, we are here. This is our year. We got the right coach. We've been had the right GM, president, whatever you want to call him, Leon the Don. This is our time, man. This is our motherfucking time. I'm telling you, this Knicks team, there's something I'm telling you. They look like a team that last year got close, and they all went into the summer and said, yo, next year we doing this shit. And they got a coach that is playing them modern basketball, and he's going to develop some talent. I mean, come on, man. Kolek came out there. He really has something for them. He's going to the rack strong. He's hitting threes. He's making crazy passes, swinging it to OG. OG missed the three. OG pocket pass as he's cutting down the middle. Bang, bang. OG, nice easy dunk. Layups because of what Kolek is creating. There's one play where, Kolek has it. They're trying to run a 2-3 zone on us. You know the zone been killing the Knicks for years. Kolek was a dominant facilitator and a player of the year in his conference in college. He led the nation in assists. He knows how to deal with a zone. He makes the swing over the top. That's another quick swing, bang, bang. I think it ends up in a deuce three. Man, this team, I'm trying to tell you, this team is loaded. They're finally going to use the depth that they have. They're finally going to give you a team that can come at you and win in a bunch of different ways. It is not Brunson ISO to the grave. No. But listen, I'm not saying I don't want no Brunson ISO. Brunson's going to have to continue to learn how to pick his spots there. I thought there were some times yesterday where he did it in the flow of the offense. I thought there were some times yesterday where he pounded the ball a little bit too much. I thought in that third quarter where things started it got probably the most dicey that they got the entire game for the Knicks. Some of that was part of that was Brunson, just not moving the ball enough. And I think that's something that he has to figure out. I think it's something his teammates have to figure it out. But more than anything else, I'm confident that it's something that the coach is going to figure out. Brunson made the comment after the game that he played like 34 and change, and last year he averaged 35 minutes. So, everybody wants to make it about the minutes, but it was similar to last year. Brunson, I love you. You are truthfully the savior of this squad. I love you, JB. But I disagree. Those minutes are not the same. The ones where you have to bring it up by yourself against full court pressure, the ones where you have to create. How many times did you see Brunson hit the floor last night? I think of him running in the stands once. I don't even know if I remember him hitting the floor. That dude was on the floor 8 to 12 times last season. How many times you see Brunson having a bump into somebody and do like this trying to get a foul just because the entire offense is all predicated on him making something happen? We didn't see that last night. So I know you played around the same amount of minutes as you averaged last year, JB, but them ain't the same minutes. Those are different types of minutes. Those are minutes where you get to not be the focal point on every single offensive possession. And I thought Brunson, along with the entire team, looked like they had much more of a plan on defense. It wasn't just about playing hard. It was about, okay, on pick and rolls, we're going to do this. And there was way more times where it seemed like the entire defense understood that they had to help Brunson. That Brunson sometimes is going to be overmatched due to his size, and especially if he gets switched onto a bigger guy, that if the ball gets swung to that guy, we have to immediately give help. Sometimes go ahead and give help, make the switch before the pass even gets made. Draymond and Steph, excellent at that. I'm telling you, man, OG Anunoby, best two-way player in the game right now. because that offensive game and that bag has continued to expand. My man, when he first came to the Knicks, he had a fanny pack. OG had a fanny pack when he first came to the Knicks. Now my man's got a full duffel. It looks like the handle's a little bit tighter. As we know, OG dribbling the ball with a full head of steam sometimes can get a little bit dicey, a little bit scary. But it looked like the handle was a little bit tighter last night. He's still continuing to hit the three. How about Brunson hitting him on the trail joint and he pulled up from mad deep? I was like, OG, that's a little bit. Oh, okay. Okay. Yo, man. Best two-way player in the game. I might be forgetting about Wemby in that conversation. Wemby. Yo, Wemby? Yo. That motherfucker's crazy. We all got to be scared about Wemby and what he can, will, and is about to do to this league. Whenever you see a guy that tall and that thin, you get a little bit scared about the injuries. But I tell you, man, that boy went and played with Dream this offseason. He learned from Hakeem Olajuwon, and it shows the footwork. He's getting stronger. Wemby is a motherfucking problem. Back to the Knicks. OG, man, great game for him. Probably the player of the game, 14 big rebounds. You're missing your two best rebounders. Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, both not in the game. Josh Hart is now questionable for tomorrow's game. Mitch has already been ruled out. Cat is questionable for tomorrow's game. We know that Cat has the grade 2 quad strain. I think this Knicks team is deep, man. I think that we're going to be able to deal with the rigors of an NBA season. Obviously, hopefully nothing catastrophic. And I think that this Knicks team is going to play a brand of basketball that is going to be a breath of fresh air. There was a time where we did not play competent basketball. And Tom Thibodeau brought competent basketball to the New York Knicks. And I think that what we are going to see is Mike Woodson continue, if not elevate that standard as a new voice, but also give you a more modern style of basketball. And that's what we have been missing. That is why you fire a coach, because even though he just got you further than your team has been in the last quarter century, the reason that you fire that coach is because you feel like, hey, there is another level that we can get to, and we can get there right now. Mikal Bridges is a new man. Talk to him, Cal. Yo, Mikal Bridges is a new man. That cat is, the defense looks great. It looks even better than it did last year. I thought his screen navigation was better than it was last year. That was one of the places where I felt like he, somewhat disappointed, even though defensively he had more than just his moments. He was pretty solid. I thought that Mikal, the screen navigation was better. I thought not always having to guard the best point of attack player. He did do a lot of guarding Donovan Mitchell. It looked like we were switching quite a bit, even with Brunson, which is something that we would try our best not to switch with Brunson last year, and we would oftentimes get ourselves in either even worse position. But I thought that Mikal Bridges, just his offensive game, his versatility, his bounce, his spirit, you could see there was something there last night that was missing last season. And I don't know if that's his second year of being comfortable. I don't know if that's being able to get the fuck away from Tibbs. I don't give a fuck what it is. I'm happy to see it. Mikal Bridges, this is what I need to see from you consistently on a night-to-night basis. Just like that. Solid. Nothing too crazy. And occasionally can do his thing. We know that he's capable of, giving you in the 20s or 30s, but I just like how decisive he is when he goes to the rim. He had one almost crazy left-handed finish that he wasn't able to get, but I love the fact that he even just attacked like that. And Bridges last night, he ends up being 6 of 11. He gives you 16 points. And it's not just about the stats, because he had a lot of games last year where he had 16 points where he wasn't the impact that he was last night. But last night, he was a huge impact. He also gave you 6 big assists. You definitely could see him just understanding where guys were going to be and getting them the ball. 3 steals, 2 blocks. Come on, man. Mikal did his thing last night. Looked great. Fantastic. Especially when he's guarding one of the best in the game in Donovan Mitchell. Cat only had 19 and 11. He's 5 of 12 from 3. Like I said, he's 1 of 4 from 3. And Brunson is 1 of 9. So they're 2 of 13 from 3. We score 119 and we win by 8 against last year's number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Looks promising to me. I feel good about it. How do y'all feel? Talk to me in the comments. Are the Knicks going to win the championship this year? Just how do you feel after last night? Are you nervous about the injuries? Do you think that we might be able to get to the finals but not be able to beat whatever team comes out of the West? Or are you like me and you're jumping out the fucking window and you saying, this is our year, we getting it? I really, after Abu Dhabi, I said there's something going on with this team. There's a bounce to it. And here's the disclaimer. Last year, the Knicks offense looked pretty good up and through about January. And then that's when I'm fairly sure it was OKC showed everybody the blueprint on how to beat the Knicks, which was put your center on Josh Hart and don't guard him, and then put a bigger wing player on Cat. And we didn't make an adjustment to counteract that until the last 2 games 5 and 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, when we had our backs against the wall and we were down 3-1. I don't think Mike Brown's going to do that. I think Mike Brown is going to be willing to make adjustments. I know it's early in the season. Lots of coaches are experimenting with lineups. Do I think that we're always going to run 11? No. Do I think that we're going to run 10 out there for at least some time? Most nights, yes. And the Landry Shamits of the world and the Tyler Koleks of the world are showing that they need minutes because they can make an impact. And like I said before, it's not about getting Brunson down to 30 minutes a game. It's about the 35 that he plays being much less stressful. And then I also feel like, the Josh Harts, the OGs, and the Bridges of the world, let's bring the minutes down just a little bit. Just a little bit. When we're smacking a team by 25, halfway through the fourth quarter, maybe this is the time to, let those guys yuck it up on the end of the bench. Tom Thibodeau talked about one game where Tracy McGrady did one of the most amazing things in the history of basketball, and he always referenced that whenever you talked about not getting guys in at the end of a blowout. It was one time. If that happens one time in the regular season, it is what it is. I'll be okay. We'll all be okay. But developing these players and giving them time. So last year in the playoffs, when you need him to, a guy like a Tyler Kolek you could put in the game and could possibly give you some life, give you some sort of contribution. It's so important that you give these guys the ability to do that. Now, one player that Tibbs did give some rope to, but in my opinion, not enough, Deuce McBride. Deuce, cornrow Deuce, no headband Deuce. La Deuce. Man. Deuce. He looked fantastic in the preseason, and he looked fantastic in the opener. Some could argue he was our most impactful player. He did lead the Knicks with a plus 17 on the night, 15 points, 4 of 7. Only one of his shots was not a three-point attempt. He hit 4 out of 6 from 3, and it seemed like every time Cleveland made a run, and they made their share of runs to get the game interesting again, at one point even taking a 1-point lead in the fourth quarter, every single time Deuce had an answer. All of his threes were huge momentum either giving or momentum stopping for the Cavs type threes. Deuce is he's just a next level momentum off the bench type guard, and when the defense is clicking and hopefully the handle's a little bit better, I've seen I both in preseason in the first game, I see flashes of both. I see flashes of, oh, the handle looks a lot better, and I see flashes of, yo, Deuce, you're an NBA guard, brother. You need to be able to dribble better than that. So yeah, I'm just hoping that this Knicks team, they continue to keep the momentum on Friday. It would be a terrible letdown loss to lose to a Jason Tatumless Celtics at the Garden. Last year we had the problem where we couldn't beat any of the upper echelon teams in the regular season. Well, we got the Cavs out of the way. Let's go ahead and get the Celtics out of the way, and let's just start the season off, man, right. Don't give me the letdown that takes away this good feeling that I have. I'm not going to live and die with every game, but let's be realistic. I do live and die with every game to a certain extent. It greatly affects my mood for days afterwards, and I'm hoping that the Knicks set off my weekend right tomorrow, Friday night. Man, let me just make sure that there's nobody that it's crazy that I didn't even mention them tonight. Talked about OG. Cat did his thing, even though the shot wasn't falling. I thought Cat gave big minutes. He got some clutch shots. He got to the free throw line. That one joint where he, did the pop. And I love that. I love that from Cat. Yeah, both him and OG with over 10 rebounds. Very important. I thought Cat had some really good rebounds where, not just because he was the biggest guy on the floor, because he had good positioning, because he boxed out. Hukporty did his thing. He did his thing. He's not Mitch. He's very serviceable. JB, I love the fact that he took over the game at the free throw line because he didn't have the jumper falling. He was 5 of 18. You don't see that from him, but he was 12 of 13 from behind the arc. Another good game from Jalen Brunson. And then McBride, as we talked about, huge game for him. He actually got to the line twice. He went 3 for 4. Shamit got fouled on the 3, hit all 3 of them. Jordan Clarkson, 2 of 7, but, had a really good pass to Cat. And the great thing about having a Jordan Clarkson is we don't need him to be that great. And there will be some nights where, he'll be the reason that we win a game. And Kolek definitely did his thing. But most of all, shouts to the coach, man. Shout to the guy, Mike Brown. He comes in here. It is the most pressurized coaching chair in the NBA. It's the heaviest jersey. It's the heaviest 3/4 zip too. And Mike Brown, so far, I love what I'm seeing. Just keep these guys on top of it, keep them focused, and keep making it happen. This is our year, yo. It's your boy Nic On Knicks. Peace.